Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to be talking about Dragonage the Veilguard and it's I guess it's not having a accessibility mode because it doesn't need it. We're going to be on PC Gamer today, and this is by Lincoln Carpenter. It's going to be linked down below if you guys want to read along with me. The title goes, Dragonage the Veilguard won't have an acrophobia mode, and because it won't have any spiders, which is very interesting because spiders are generally a pretty normal enemy, and especially in fantasy games, so that's interesting. No spider swapping necessary. Thetis was just declared a no spider zone. We've seen other games offer arachnophobia modes that replace spiders with alternate enemies. World of Warcraft solves them out with crabs. Grounded progressively despiderizes the offending models until they're eventually just floating balls with eyes. The Lethal Company simply reduces spiders with the word spider, where others might provide acrophonia modes. Dragon Age the Veilguard have arrived at a more elegant solution for overwhelming spider terror. Veilguard won't have an acrophobia mode because Veilguard simply won't have any spiders in the first place. In this business, we call that efficiency. It is true. It is interesting that there's so many things. There, like, arachnophobia is a very big deal in a lot of for a lot of people. It's very interesting that one of the most common enemies is spiders when there's so many people that are scared of it, and then you have to make a alternative mode for the people who want to turn that on, and that's just like almost unnecessary resources. Like, just have them be really big rats or something like that for a lot of games. Lethal Company is more of a different one for my opinion, because that kind of is a horror game. And in fact, the fact that a horror game even has an arachnophobia mode should be like a good thing. But it's interesting that like other games that are fantasy based that are worried about that don't have them as enemies because they don't need them as enemies. Grounded is very specific because that game is literally like the big bad enemies of that game. Is the spiders, because it's a Honey I Shrunk the Kids type of game where you're very small humans in a regular backyard. So I mean, there's only so many things that when you're trying to realistically be what's in a backyard, spiders. Continuing on, our confirmation that Dragon Age's bold spider-free future comes from BioWare community manager Black Hair Violet Eyes on Reddit via the Gamer. In the thread discussion, a recent Dragon Age of the Veilguard official blog post covering accessibility options. Redditors had noted that the blog didn't mention any arachnophobia filter. To clarify the omission, Black Hair Velvet Eyes said that the Veilguard has no arachnophobia mode because there's no spiders. I'm thankfully not burdened with the curse of arachnophobia, but in my book, the less I'm forced to fight spiders, the better. Sometimes you get a bespoke arachnid horror, like the upcoming Lala Bernie with the fighting in Monster Hunter Wilds, but otherwise few developers are going to have the time, resources, and interest necessary for adding exciting new dimensions to spider combat. It is interesting that spiders are so common as enemies, and because of arachnophobia, like there are a lot of people don't play games because of their spiders in it. It's interesting. I mean, to be fair, I think a model swap is probably the easiest ones, like the World of Warcraft example. And I mean, games like Monster Hunter Wilds, you can't replace the model like that. Like, you just don't fight the spider, I guess, if you don't want to fight the spider. I don't know the context behind that, but like there are things you can do that. When you reach one of the many spider caves in video games, you know exactly what's going to follow. You're gonna get poisoned. You're gonna get stuck in webs. You're gonna have to avoid walking onto egg clusters that hatch a bunch of spiderlings. Spiders are every video game's frustration at once. They're the antithesis of a delight, and every game where we don't have to fight them is a gift. Thankfully, the gift that Veilguard seems happy to provide. That is true. I think one of the most annoying things about spiders is the webs, because it just slows down the game. Poison, it depends on the game. Like, that depends on like if it's a big deal to be poisoned or not. In some games, it's not that big of a deal, but other games, it's a huge deal to be poisoned. So that really just depends on the type of game you're playing. Like in the game Dark and Darker that I played a bunch of times, like there's spiders in that game, and that game barely. Honestly, I think I don't like fighting other things compared to the spiders. The spiders are actually one of the easier enemies in the games, in my opinion. The biggest thing for me is that this is more information on Dragon Age's Veilguard's enemies. So there's no spiders in Dragon Age Veilguard, which is interesting. Were there spiders in the other Dragon Age games? Honestly, I can't remember. I've played the first one, and I haven't played the other ones, unfortunately. So I'm not entirely sure. But the more I learn about more Dragon Age Veilguard, it does seem to be a decent video game. And I really hope that it is going to be a good video game, because I do feel like Dragon Age Veilguard, it might be the last hurrah of BioWare if the game doesn't sell well and doesn't perform well, because they have not had a good past like decade, I feel like, because there's been so many misses by BioWare. So hopefully this game will do well. And no spiders is probably a good thing. That means people that do have arachnophobia are more likely to buy the game, which is a good thing, because I don't think BioWare should cease to exist. I think they do very well in so many ways. So I hope that it goes well for them. And honestly, I'm interested to see if there's no spot. I'm interested to see why there's no spiders. Is because they specifically didn't want to have to do that accessibility mode, or they just wanted more interesting enemies. Because spiders are generally boring when it comes to enemy variety. I mean, like, it's just kind of like the big rat or goblins for a lot of fantasy games. Like, you always fight goblins and orcs eventually, right? For spiders, big spiders are also a very generic enemy that a lot of people fight. So, to be fair, this is Dragon Age, so obviously there's going to be dragons, but, like, it's interesting to see why they chose no spiders and over no other things. Like, if I fight a big rat, why was the big rat okay, but not the spiders? And I would take a guess because of the accessibility mode. Because a big rat, most people, like, I mean, I'm not saying people like big rats, but I'm just saying, like, there isn't a literal name for a fear of it. I don't think so, actually. There might be, but I don't know. It's not as prevalent, I guess. It's not as common. So that's the more interesting thing of, like, how far can we go when it comes to, like, how much accessibility you can have when it comes to a game, or like, because there are people going to be scared of all types of things, but spiders are very specific. And to be fair, there is a lot of people that are very scared of spiders. And to be fair, a lot of spiders can be very deadly in a lot of ways. Just ask Australia. To be fair, most spiders in Western culture aren't actually deadly. They're just kind of there. In fact, spiders are actually really good because, they eat bugs and stuff, but that's a whole different thing. So it's very interesting to see about this. Thank you all for watching today's video. Let me know down in the comments if you are happy that, if you could buy the game now that you know that there's no spiders in it, or if you're planning to buy the game anyway, or just interested in Dragon Age in general. I am interested to know what people think about it, because it's been a while since another Dragon Age game has happened. And it's been a while since a good BioWare game has come out, and I really hope this is going to be a good BioWare game. If you guys support me, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button as well. If you'd like to follow me on other places, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and a TikTok. If you'd like to support me directly, you can join YouTube memberships or join the Patreon to support me directly. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.